Hi, everyone, and welcome to Be True, my podcast about the writing I love and the writing I do. I'm John Tessitore, and today, always with us from my collection, The Americans. You can find The Americans and all of my work at johntessitore.com. Within a little over a week's time, as of this recording, 2 hurricanes hit the west coast of Florida and destroyed several large communities, especially St. Petersburg and the surrounding areas. This has been an historic occurrence, but one that will seem less historic in the years to come as we continue to ignore climate change and as such storms become more frequent. In the aftermath of such tragedies, there is a hierarchical order to the relief efforts, an implicit schedule for fixing things. Essential services are restored first, then business areas and some residential areas, and then, if there's time and funding, everyone else. Who is everyone else? In most cases, it's the poor, the very poor, including immigrant communities and racial and ethnic minorities. Hurricanes like Helene and Milton always begin as enormous community tragedies, but too often they end as social justice failures, as vivid illustrations of American inequality. They force government agencies to separate the essential from the inessential, and we all know who loses in that competition. Put another way, they divide who is visible in American society from who is invisible. The first images we usually see in the aftermath of hurricanes like Helene and Milton are overturned boats in the harbor. You know the picture. We can probably use the same one over and over. I get it. It's a dramatic image, a quick and recognizable depiction of the storm's power. All that wreckage. All those poor boat owners. But seldom do we see the rows of tiny, overcrowded homes in the poor sections of town. In this case, the people who were still wondering what to do after Helene, their homes and lives now completely destroyed by Milton. In a few days from this recording, when the lights go on in the business district and on the local tennis courts, there will be great rejoicing and community backslapping. You'll hear how everyone pitched in to help. And then the news cameras will turn their attention to other issues, and, if history is any guide, the poor will be left to fend for themselves. I say all of this now because I've been thinking a lot about the invisibility of the poor and powerless, at home and abroad. The way they're segregated and hidden, or else the way we see and categorize them, even when they're right in front of us, so that they don't ruin our view. The poem I'm about to read takes its title from a line spoken by Jesus in Mark's Gospel, a line that was controversial even among the apostles. When a poor woman anoints Jesus' hair with expensive oils during a supper in Bethany, and the apostles wonder if that's the best use of her resources, Jesus replies, "The poor you will always have with you, and whenever you wish you can do good to them, but you will not always have me." I will return to this line in later podcasts, I'm sure, because I'm as troubled by it now as the apostles were then. But no matter how you read it, even if you contort it the way the Catholic Church contorts it in order for it to make sense in the context of Jesus' larger ministry, and I'm not sure that it does, it dismisses the individual woman and her individual needs, lumps her into a group, the poor, and thereby renders her less visible. She's one of the ones we'll always have with us. And this is always what happens. Whether we're ignoring entire sections of St. Petersburg in the wake of 2 hurricanes, or, in the case of the woman in the poem I'm about to read, whether we're walking past a homeless woman on the street. We fail to see them. We see the inessential poor, who are always with us, like part of the scenery, but we don't see the people. She can be so hard to see, a wasted body, not invisible, just unimaginable, unless a part of the mise-en-scène. Symmetry with the streetlight in a tableau of urban blight, a figure in the blocking, so that when the rest of us are walking, we know where to circle and where not to stare. The curtain rises and falls on her. Always with us is a poem from my collection, The Americans. The Americans is intended to be a group portrait, a cross-section of life in a dense, complicated, fragmenting nation. You know why I included it? Because poor people are always with us, in America and everywhere, and because we have an obligation to help them that is far greater than our obligation to boats and tennis and business. And so, in the hope that we all see poor people a little more clearly in the months ahead, me included, this is John Tessitore concluding another installment of Be True. If you've listened this long, thank you. You can find all of my work, including The Americans, at johntessitore.com. But first, if you want to help a hurricane relief effort, find a local organization on the ground and ask them what they need. They're always the ones to roll up their sleeves first. Special thanks to me for today's theme music, which I call C-Chord. Maybe we'll talk again. And if you enjoyed this little podcast, leave some stars or a review and tell your friends. Tell them what you think, Luna.